This is To the Rescue Authentic Networking, and I'm Jennifer Johnson, Executive Director of TTR Networking and Relationship Marketing Coach. This show is all about authentic business networking know-how, relationship building, and the success strategies used by our members to grow their businesses and to give back to local nonprofits. Be sure to stay up to date. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to click the bell to get the notifications. Oh, yeah, and please visit our website, ttrnetworking.com. We are TTR Networking. We're industry-exclusive networking groups. We meet weekly to share easy relationship marketing tools, fun, entertaining, and informative events and fundraising. We are so glad you're here. Now on with the show.
Welcome to our To the Rescue Authentic Networking Show. I'm Nicole Williams with my host, Jennifer Johnson. We would like to welcome you and tell you we are so thankful you are here with us today. We would also like to give a big shout out to Sent Out Cards. We want to thank them so much for always being there for us during this time of social distancing. They are still staffed. They're watching their social distancing, being very careful, but they're getting our cards out for us to people who need them. Just to get that card in the mail, the heartfelt card is just really sweet, and just they're happy. You can receive a free card on us if you visit sentoutcards.com/thankful single mama, and that's MOMMA. And let's see, Miss Jennifer, how are you today?
You know what? I'm doing very well. It got kind of cold here for a couple it was really beautiful, so that was nice. But yeah, we're doing well. We're doing really well. The farther we go into this pandemic, yes. I just say prayers all the time. I know we've been talking about that on all of our shows, is that the best thing we can do is just keep reaching out with cards, gifts, phone calls, whatever, but also just keeping everybody in prayer, because it's just such a scary time. The serenity prayer we always go back to. I think I threw that in there a little because last time I forgot to even mention it. But the serenity prayer, the whole idea that we have no control over what happens to us. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think right now you got to stay hopeful. There's good things. You can react how you choose to react. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad. It's just a crazy time. I don't want to say bad, but there are a lot of bad things happening. We just have to keep being hopeful. Nicole, how are you? Because you actually talked about last week. You were talking about this card thing you did with your daughters.
Yes, with my daughters in a nursing home. A friend of a friend had told us that these poor folks in the nursing home, they can't get family in. They can't leave their rooms. I mean, they quarantine to their room. I mean, I just
So the cards.
imagine. I've heard like family visiting them at the window, but so my girls and I, we like 20 a day. We just created the cards through Send Out Cards, and then we sent them to them. So and then our friend is creating like Easter baskets where she's gonna put a card in there, and we couldn't get their names, like, well, we'd love to personalize it, and but with the HIPAA laws, we couldn't do that. But that, but just for them to get the card, it has like pretty flowers on the front. There's like, we kind of switched it up a little. Some of them have a crossword puzzle or word search with like kindness words, like caring and stuff like that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
We're excited.
So your blog is thankfulsinglemama.com.
Yes. And I just it's a way for moms, dads, caregivers, parents to kind of find support, guidance, motivational quotes, anything kind of like that, just to help us make our world a better place for our children and others by setting a good example. But there's all kinds of help in there for everybody.
You know what? That would be I think that would be a really good place to introduce our guest. He's sitting there chomping. I don't think he's chomping at the bit, but he might be. And you know what? Talking about leaving the planet better than we found it, or leaving a good place, Clifton Herbert is the indoor air pollution removal guy. And he's actually one of our TTR members. He's in the Broad Ripple group. And just really, you can tell them, Clifton, we're so happy to have you on here, but you can tell them the website and all this stuff, but because I know there's a lot to talk about. Clifton, how are you today?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm having another great day. It's a beautiful day outside, a little bit chilly for my taste. But
Me too.
I love it.
It's the Indiana weather, and everybody keeps telling me if you just wait around a while, snap your fingers, it'll change on you. So, I'm just rolling with the punches when it comes to the weather.
I was going to say, no kidding. What it was at 80 degrees the other day. And now it's literally, you said that before we did the show, that 80 degrees. And now it's like, what, 40 or something? Crazy.
I'm driving the car and they're saying, make sure you keep your water running. And I'm like, no, not again. I almost wrecked. Like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
It's a pretty amazing thing. Well, we are so happy to have you on. And I would just, I guess the biggest thing, we already said who you are, but and we both know you now, but why don't you tell us what it is you do? I already kind of gave a little explanation, and how this whole COVID-19 thing is affecting your business, because it's not always negative, is it?
No, it's not always negative. And I actually happen to be in the health industry and healthcare industry with a product or an appliance that does the job of taking care of viruses. We actually tested 2 months before we knew about this. 99.997% of all viruses, bacteria, pollutants, and dirt and dander, pollination, gets sucked up by my machine. My machine takes the air that's in your home and washes it in a kind of like a dishwashing format, or if you want to say a washer format, the way you wash clothes. We believe that you cannot clean anything in this world without the use of water. And my machine comes into your house and uses water to clean your air. And it pumps it right back out through a HEPA filter, giving you a class 1 medical device that can actually be used in hospital format. So my thing is bringing fresh of breath, ocean washed air back into your home.
Ooh,
Cool.
washed air. I like that. Ocean washed air. I like that.
He's all about like getting us thinking of being out on the boat or something, or being on the ocean. That so it's really going pretty well, because you said you're really busy right now. People are really, and they're having you
has ramped up my business to where there's not enough of me at this time. I've gotten a lot more appointments. People are worried about their air conditioning. They should be. The air you breathe gives you 80% of the energy you have in a day. And if I can liken that to people we see with oxygen tanks, they don't get enough air. The air they're getting from those oxygen tanks still aren't filling up their lungs enough, and that's why they always look so dilapidated, or not as much energy as people running around who don't have oxygen tanks. So the same thing is with everybody who thinks they are super healthy. Air is like the number one sequential thing that we use to get around in our daily lives. Yes, you need water, but you can go 40 days without water, 7 days without food, or 7 days without food, 40 days without water. But air, good air, you can't go more than 5 minutes. And people don't realize that because it's so precious to us. They're starting to realize how precious it is.
right. Sure.
But it's been so precious to us because you can't see it. It's just something you do. But we take in 40,000 breaths a day, which is the equivalent to 40 gallons of water, 40-gallon jugs. That's how much air you were taking in per day. But we don't understand that. We don't see that. But that's what the numbers show. And then when you have pollutants in there, you don't really realize that. So that's my job, is to come and show people there's a difference. Let me crank my machine on for you for 2 minutes or even 15 minutes, just depends on the type of the home. and that water, that fresh water that we put in there, will have a murky color or a brownish color, or it
Yeah.
turns from your household drinking water to maybe Flint, Michigan water or Tijuana water, which you wouldn't want to drink. So that's what my job is to do, is to show you those things.
Wow. And I know, Nicole, you've got a question for him, but I was just thinking this might be a good moment to say, you said people are calling and you actually go to their houses.
Mm-hmm.
And when this video plays, or when people actually can get it, it might be that the quarantine is lifted, or it's, the level is lessened, or whatever they would call it. But you actually have you showed us the little mask you wear.
Yes.
So you do wear that if somebody's worried about it.
I do wear the mask. My business partner's wife actually built this mask for me.
Oh.
Wear it in the house, wear it where I go. I only take it off when I'm in my office like I am now, and at home, but I take this everywhere I go. So I want everybody to, know that I am safe, and, you need to make sure that it is what it is. And I carry anti-bac on me at all times, a spray, and I make sure my hands are clean at all times. So
Cool.
I think first and foremost, so people know, when I do a presentation or when I'm inside a home, I'm way more than 6 feet away from them, and I'm just showing them how the machine works.
Good.
So our show is about being authentic,
Okay.
and we were hoping you can tell us a little bit about what being authentic means to you.
Authentic to me, just being you're pure to the core of who you are, who you were meant to be. I've always felt that. I've always taken a little bit of everything that I've been on and grew up with and kept that to heart. I've rarely had that experience of where I want to be out of body or be somebody else. I'm an Air Force brat. And so I grew up in Germany, and I grew up in Colorado Springs and other places. And then I was fortunate enough to go to the college at the University of Hawaii. So there's a little bit of that inside of me too. And then I call Los Angeles County, Los Angeles, California home. So that's another big part of me that I'll never let go. And I always try to stay core to those original values that were instilled from my parents and through all the living environments that I've lived in.
Cool. I know he said, there was something I was going to say. Just that I've known him a few months, maybe a year, I don't know. And I would, you know who Clifton is. I mean, he is very much what he just said. He's got these core things, and it's pretty cool when you just realize that is who he is. And he doesn't pretend like he loves this weather. He leaves when it's cold, if he can leave, right? It's not trying to be something you're not, because you're not. The question, and prior to this, maybe it's not different than now, but how did you, and maybe now it's different, but how do you usually get leads for your business? How do you get them?
When I moved here to Indianapolis, I didn't know 2 people.
Right.
So it was all at the beginning, it's word of mouth. That's how this business works. And through, for me personally, it was door knocking, or the 3-foot rule, I like to call it. I like the 3-foot rule for me is if I'm in 3 feet of anybody, Walmart or something, start a conversation and see if you can in tune with what you do, and see if you can get an appointment that way. That's how it started. Now it's kind of growing because I'm learning how to use social media for the business, and then the website as well. So, but all encompassing, it's usually word of mouth. Most of my clients tell their friends about it once they own one, because it's the best. It's the best out there. And there's other machines that do the similar thing, but I believe mine is actually the best out there. And it's when people see that and understand that, then they're like, oh, I'm going to tell you about it, or I'm going to tell you about it. And that's the best way. I mean, I've had sales in the last month where it's been clients who aren't even trying to be involved with the business. They just brought a machine over to a friend's house so they can see it. And then I get a call like, hey, man, this guy's really talking about buying. And I went over there, and I'm 35 minutes out to the house with a sale.
Yeah, good for you. Well, you are very good at what you do. I mean, we feel very confident. And take it away, Nicole. You can.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you find To the Rescue networking?
TTR, yeah.
TTR.
They don't all know it says To the Rescue.
I was coming from an appointment, didn't go so well. So I was just like, let me see, let me check on my phone. I'm driving. You shouldn't drive and look at your phone, but I was looking. And I seen there was a networking group in Broad Ripple networking group at the Knights of Columbus on 71st. And I actually happened to be maybe 8 minutes away. And I was going to just slide in right on time. And so I said, you know what, let me just go over here, and says you can get lunch anyways. I'm kind of hungry. So let's see what it's all about. And I jumped in there, and Sterling Group I've stuck with. That people in that group are really wholesome and very family oriented, and those are the things that I like to see. And they've made me feel like a family, so I've never left, and I don't plan on leaving.
Oh, that's sweet of you. I think the interview's over. He just said the magic word. He did not
And that's a wrap. No.
He said, take it away. Nicole, I know you have more questions there.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, could you share a story where building relationships within the networking group has influenced your business?
Or don't feel the pressure if there's not any stories.
No. I mean, I got a couple.
Good.
The people don't really understand what I do until I actually show them.
Yeah.
But ever since, there was a chance, and that's what TTR is about, is everybody gets a chance to see what you do and how that affects you.
Mm-hmm.
And once people see what I do, they're like, oh my gosh, this is like, why didn't I know about this? Why haven't I known about this? This is a modified machine that's been around since 1937. And the best thing for me in my business is that 8 out of 10 people have never heard of it or never seen it. And so you're just like, okay, this is what I got. This is what I do. And a couple people have put me in other homes, and sales have come from that. And I've been able to give back to them in that aspect. Only sad part for me is I don't know a lot of people. I'm learning a lot of people, and I haven't been able to give as many referrals as I have received. So I feel honestly bad about that portion. But one day it's going to turn back around where I can give everybody their due deserve, because they are amazing people in that group, and they deserve as many referrals as I can find.
Well, that's
the thing too. It's not just about referrals, just you being there. You don't realize your presence, what you talk about, what they will come, please don't think it's just,
Well, yeah, Clifton, I'm glad you brought that up, because I would say that's probably, if somebody's coming from another networking entity that might be out there similar to what we do, they might feel that. And I don't want people to feel, if you've been in the group for months and months and months, you don't feel like giving referrals, and they're not giving you any referrals, then there might be something that's wrong. Yeah. But, I do think it's nice that Nicole said that, because Nicole's been new to the Northside group, but I know her thought might have been as well, I'm not able to give many. Well, I hope you don't give a lot until you really get to feel comfortable with the people, and then that you can trust them to represent you well too. And I think I get that from you, Clifton, but I don't think anybody in that group sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, Clifton has never given me a referral.
I hope not. That is my thing. The thing about the TTR thing is the one-on-ones. And that was one of the things I was concentrating on this year, was the one-on-ones. And up until March, I had done 3. And so, I was trying to do 1 a month with everybody that's in the group. Right now we're on a lull of hanging out, but when it comes back on, I'll get back onto that track, because I think that's the most important thing, getting to know those people, just one-on-one, and seeing them, seeing the love somebody has for their children, their family, their wife, their husband, and then seeing the love they have for their clients. That's where the ultimate blessing is when it comes to this networking group.
Oh, that's the kind of thing I want to hear, especially we're recording this on Good Friday. How cool is that? The blessing. One of the things that TTR does, and I know you have some that are close to you, but we talk about supporting nonprofits. Our groups do that. I know, and I was I'm curious about what nonprofits. I think you and I might have had a conversation at one point that I think I know, but you have a couple nonprofits or something that are close to your heart, don't you?
I started a veterans thing back home in California, where we call that Coffee for Vets. And every Tuesday morning, vets can go get free coffee and they can talk about their stuff. And 50% off on breakfast items, 2-hour period. When I first started it, just my dad and like 2 of his buddies would show. We got a board together, and then that thing blew up, and now they're in 2 cities, and they do
Wow.
110 people each sitting. So it's a beautiful thing. Senators come through, congressmen come through, and wherever I settle down, I would love to start another one of those, because the military is great for my family and me and growing up, and it gave me everything I needed. People have different stories where, yeah, I had to move during this time or whatnot, but I didn't see it that way. And then the biggest thing in the military is you don't see color. Everybody's red, white, and blue.
Oh,
And that is the ultimate thing I took from that. Your mom's in the military, my dad's in the military. We're all the same,
Thank you.
The thing here, I'm part of this group from the Knights of Cosmo Knights Club, and they are building in the 46205 area a food desert. And I didn't know much about the food desert. There's a young man by the name of David Johnson who is the leader of it. He is a philanthropist by degree, and he is trying to make sure you can solidify getting fresh, healthy food to that zip code. And growing up the way I did it, I didn't know that some people need to go 10 miles to get
yeah.
a good piece of fruit or some lettuce or to make a salad. A couple of those things were shut down. I don't know if it's called, not Super 8, but a bunch of those little grocery stores were shut down. So the closest thing to one of them might be that Meijer, about 5 miles away, but they have no way to get there,
Right.
access. So we are working on that. We're at the beginning stages of that, but at the end of the day, when that thing is actually put together, that thing's going to be amazing for that community.
And I think that was what we talked about, because I think we were trying to connect you with a gentleman in our network who does a online food or farmers market. That's what it was. Couldn't remember what I was even saying. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, go ahead, Nicole. What do you got?
Well, I was going to ask how our guests can contact you. If they're interested in more information about your business.
We're on pretty much all of the new social medias. On Facebook, we're Ratello Indie. On Instagram, we are Ratello Indie. And if somebody wants to check out the website, it's Mr. Ritello, MrRitello.com. And all those ways you can get to us, all our information is up there, phone numbers, and how to contact us.
Awesome.
Yes, it's so, and that's one thing we were going to say. I definitely all that information that Clifton just shared will be in the notes with us on our YouTube channel and everything. So, Clifton, we want to leave on a hopeful note, and I think the business that you represent and that it definitely is hopeful. I remember in the Broad Ripple group when I was there a few weeks before all this quarantine happened, somebody in the group said, what if we took a bunch of your machines and we hooked them up and put them outside? Could we clean up the world air, the air in the world? I don't know what your comment was, but I know it was prophetic or something. It was a good comment. But I guess we would it's funny. We can laugh about it. It is a scary time. What kind of last or final thought would you like to leave us with today?
I would like maybe 2 thoughts.
Sure.
One thought is just for everybody in regards to their business, because I know I'm blessed to be in the position I am right now with my business is thriving, and it's going to continue to thrive forward from this. People are going to be looking for work, and I'll be able to put them out there, and people will also want to know how they can have very clean home, and I'll be able to do that for them. I would like the people who have their own businesses who might be struggling to already start placing in their minds about having a grand reopening of your business once this thing is
Yeah.
done, you know, once we're able to have more than 6 people or 8 people in a room. I think
No kidding.
some people might want that, you know, maybe inviting your old clients to a little party if you have an office, or, you know, things like that, or going to main event,
Right.
things like that. I think people should be aware of that, because I think that's probably what I'm going to do, is have all my clients come into somewhere and get them on board with, you know, going forward together. And, you know, you're part of the Rotello family. This is who we are. This is what we bring to the table. Please go out there and start getting back out there and active in the community and doing the things you need to do to make this world a better place. So I think people should think about a grand reopening if you have your own business, and these are the things that you can jumpstart and get going back forward. On the super positive note, I would also tell people in times of difficulty, this is where you grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need to start looking at how they are growing. You know, you see your kids growing because you're teaching them every day. I get that. But how are you personally growing, and how are you going to be better because of this? There's a lot of positivity out there, and there's a lot of people doing really amazing things for other people. And maybe you might not have enough in your wallet to do that, but you might have enough in your wallet to contribute to some fabric, or somebody who, you know, who's sewing masks or something like that, or this and that. There's always something you can do. The glass can be half empty, but it can also be half full. And it's just about how you look at it, at things, to be honest.
Oh, that's a good one. That's good. Yeah, that's great. Take away, Nicole. I think I've lost my script.
Well, we want to thank you so much, Clifton, for being our guest today. We've so enjoyed you. And Jennifer, as we wrap this one up, did you have anything you'd like to close with? Maybe a quote or?
Yeah, you know, I see quotes all the time. Clifton did a really good job of kind of winding it up, but there are so many. But E.E. Cummings, I think I did this last, or I had not the same quote. I think it was a different E.E. Cummings quote, but it takes courage to grow up and become who we really are, or who you really are. And I think, right now, courage is something people really are, and Clifton said, I think the way he just left it, doing, you're helping your kids, but what are you really doing to better yourself and to grow up and become, be who you really are. We're all about it, authenticity. That's part of it, right? That's the whole thing. And that's the only way. I think that's how our groups grow. I think it's how at least that it's working thus far, as I see people being who they are and not being afraid to step up and say, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to, create a mask or whatever. I'm not a sewer. You don't want me to do a mask. It would not be a good idea. But if I can,
somebody else who does, and that's all I'm saying,
Yeah, exactly.
Out.
Right. So Clifton is the man to call about the Rotello, and we know that he knows his stuff. If you go to our Facebook, I know that he somewhere way back I posted his pictures of his presentation, and you don't doubt that he knows what he's doing. So I would just say it takes a lot of courage. That's E.E. Cummings speaking. It takes a lot of courage to grow up and become who you really are and be very proud of it and comfortable, So thank you, Clifton, for sharing your stuff with us today. It's really refreshing, and you just make everybody happy. You didn't do any flowers or anything. Do you have anything? Now that we're at the last moment, right?
I can close on that. Definitely the poppy fields in California. These are the California poppies. And what happened?
I don't know, but now your sweater's.
Oh, it's on your sweater.
Actually, that's kind of cool. That might be.
That's hilarious. I don't even know what just happened, but
Well, you know what? Things happen for a reason. That's a good color for you. So it's all right.
thank you.
You're welcome. So you want to definitely check our website. Nicole, thank you so much for handling all these crazy things that are going on. Even
Thank
just
you all
poppy
too.
sweater.
Fun.
And take it away. Close us up.
Okay, so please don't forget to grab your free card on us when you visit sendoutcards.com/thankful single mama. We look forward to more conversations to come. We'll have all the contact info, web links at the bottom of our show. Until next time, may all your days be filled with authenticity.
Yeah, just remember Clifton with his poppy shirt there. That's really cool. That's a neat moment, I think that's really cool. Thank you, Clifton. We really appreciate it. I know you're really busy, so thank you for making the time. And we will see everybody next week. This is To the Rescue.